Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar, 5 Steps for Creating Category Page Experiences that Drive Results. I hope you are all well, healthy, and happy in this extraordinary time that we're living in. Today, we are going to talk about 5 steps that retailers and brands like yourself can take to create better category page experiences. And between each step, we'll be discussing how our new category merchandising tool enables retailers to perform these steps to the best of their ability. So, in this time when retailers are very much hurrying to pivot into a strong e-commerce first strategy to navigate the new landscape of this very quickly changing market, we at Nosto understand how important it is to make the most of every interaction, every moment you have with shoppers. Category pages are, as you will know, some of the most trafficked, most important pages for you to connect with shoppers on. So we hope that you come away from this webinar with some truly valuable insights that will allow you to optimize your category pages in the challenging weeks ahead. First off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Gemma O'Leary. I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager here at Nosto. I've been here just over a year and I've been working in the UK and Ireland markets. It's a pleasure to be here presenting to you all and showing you our new product. I'm just going to run quickly through the agenda. I'm going to start by explaining why optimizing your category pages should be a key focus for you as an e-commerce professional, as well as diving into some of the key context of why we actually decided to develop this product. Then I'm going to take you through the new product, starting with the nuts and bolts functionality, which is our sorting and highlighting rules, and I'll explain the difference between those later. If you're familiar with Nosto, you'll know that we specialize in serving segmented experiences to your customers, and category pages are really no different. So we're going to have a look at how segmentation and category pages can intersect. And for you real personalization nuts, we'll follow with a look at how to personalize them even further. And finally, we're going to talk about the importance of testing and optimizing everything you do on your category pages, followed by a little bit of a Q&A where you can ask me anything about the new product. Let's start with some numbers. You may or may not know that your category pages spark the majority of your customers' product discovery on site. So between 50 to 70% of on-site product discovery is made through category pages. This is actually 7 times the amount of discovery of the next best discovery tactics, which are search and recommendations. So it's one of the most important aspects of your site to optimize. You're probably thinking that that's great and perhaps there isn't too much room for improvement if those categories are already driving so much traffic to PDPs on their own. But only 50% of traffic to your category pages actually progress to a PDP. So if you think about that, you're losing half of that traffic before they even land on a product page. They probably didn't find what they were looking for. Those products weren't relative to that particular customer, or perhaps the products on the first page were beyond their price point. And by optimizing those pages to show what customers are looking for, you can up to double your product discovery, which will lead to a huge increase in conversion and revenue. Most e-commerce managers and online merchandisers are already in some way optimizing their category pages for different e-commerce goals, but at the moment they're doing this suboptimally, and this was something that we discovered in the multiple conversations that we had with retailers before developing this tool, is that most of them spend their time manually merchandising their category pages, relying on nothing but their intuition and their admittedly vast knowledge of the e-commerce landscape and metrics. They do tend to arrange products manually, which takes days or weeks and costs a lot of time and money. So there's quite a significant operational cost involved. This might sound familiar to you if you're a merchandiser. Another really common tactic to kind of drive targeted traffic to category pages is deploying paid ads. So whether that would be on Facebook, Instagram, or Google. But these ads are not owned media. You need to take return on ad spend into account, which means that they're not really the most financially effective way of driving targeted traffic to your category pages. As we all know, advertising on Google and Facebook is expensive, and it's not a cost that you can control. Merchandisers also tend to focus on a single goal or campaign at a time. And because they're doing this manually, they don't change the sequences of their category pages as quickly as they could or should. And this isn't due to any fault of their own because we're humans, we don't have computer brains that can compute the differently weighted importance of multiple revenue-based goals at once. And that's why we invented a product that can do this for you. So what is the key to optimizing your category pages successfully? Luckily, with our new category merchandising product, you can arm some of your highest traffic pages with your own customized sorting and highlighting rules to meet your specific merchandising goals. We're going to go a little bit deeper into those two types of rules in the next few slides. But basically, these allow you to simultaneously sort your category page sequences according to specific merchandising goals, and also to highlight specific products by placing them in the most engaged with placements. One of the most powerful things about using Nosto as a category merchandising solution is that you have the backup of our full product suite on top of our dynamic merchandising capabilities. So you can also use segmentation and A/B testing in order to diversify, personalize, and optimize your category page experiences to help your store perform exponentially better than ever before. Let's talk about the sorting rules first. So sorting allows you to sort an infinite amount of products in a specific order, or as we're going to call it, a sequence, according to different product attributes and performance metrics of your choosing. You can even select multiple attributes and performance goals and give specific weight to them according to your needs. The attributes, they include things like price, inventory level, brand, or even customized tags that you may have created on your own. These rely on the data that you pass to Nosto via your e-commerce platform, and if you're already a Nosto customer, you already know that we use these to filter your product recommendations, so you'll be familiar with filtering things by these product attributes. The performance metrics include things like conversion rate, margin, or even revenue per impression, which is a metric that most merchandisers don't focus on just because it's so hard to get data on it, but it can be a lot more valuable than just plain old conversion rate in times of low cash flow. Let's talk about how to do this in practice. So on the right side of the slide, you can see that I've selected 3 goals from my category page sorting rule. They're all based on product performance metrics: conversion rate, margin, and inventory turnover. By means of adjusting a simple slider, I can assign a chosen weight to each of these, and that's going to sort the order of my products accordingly. Applying different promotions, and it's worth mentioning demotions, so you can demote products as well to push them to the bottom of the page, and adjusting the sort of weights will cause the products in the preview to move based on the rules that I've just applied. And the little percentage figure on each product that you might be able to see there shows how close it is to my sort of golden ratio of conversion plus margin plus inventory turnover. So if you are a visual merchandiser, you're probably freaking out a bit about the visual aspect of the page and having a little more control over the products that you want to display at the top of the page. So to put your mind at rest, let's move on to highlights. Highlights set a group of products at the top of the category page and heroes them, creating that sort of end of aisle display like experience on category pages by ensuring that certain products are highlighted in the most prominent or engaging spots. So you might want to do this if you're promoting a specific new drop, a collaboration, or a range. You can use the scheduling tool to make the highlight appear for a certain amount of time, so it'll be in line with your marketing calendar. Or you might want to use that top row to optimize towards an assortment of different business goals like increasing profitability, liquidating surplus inventory, and much more. It's completely up to you how you want to use it. And much like sorting, Much like sorting, you can combine a multitude of product attributes, performance metrics, and personalization rules to curate the order in which the products are displayed. This is an example of a highlight on a men's streetwear category, where the retailer has chosen to highlight based on products that cost between $40 and $150 and are discounted. So highlights can also be really valuable in sale period. Maybe if you just have a sale on a specific range, products that are within a specific brand, you can push those to the top of the category page to try and get rid of that inventory and make room for something new. And as we mentioned, that can be scheduled for a specific amount of time or not. So you can just wait until all that inventory is gone, or you can just do it over a particular sale weekend, sale season, whatever is in line with your own objectives. Meanwhile, adding real-time segmentation on top of sorting and highlights allows you to create category page sequences that vary between segments according to the different business wants and needs, but also the different marketing focus for different types of customers. So, in other words, if you've got different merchandising goals for shoppers who are in different life cycle stages, which most of you probably do, then you can create different sorting and highlighting rules for each of Nosto's out of the box life cycle segments. This can be actually particularly useful for multi-brand retailers as well, as you have the ability to promote certain brands to customers who have a known affinity for that brand, creating multiple different preferential sequences. Or if you're a single brand furniture retailer who has different styles or ranges of furniture, for example, you could use the custom tag affinity segments to your advantage. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. To focus for now on the lifecycle segments, um, we're going to look at this example. So on the left here, you can see an experience that the retailer has designed for loyal customers, and they've chosen to prioritize margin. Whereas on the right, they've created an experience for first-time visitors where they are, of course, choosing to prioritize conversion rate. So with first-time visitors, you're typically just trying to convert them. You're just trying to get them over the line, get that first sale, and then you can worry about getting them back to do a repeat purchase later. Whereas with loyal customers, you have the opportunity to try and sell products with higher margins or even products with higher revenue per impression because you know that they're more likely to buy something no matter what. There's also far more opportunity to leverage those brand or tag affinities when a customer is loyal, as they'll likely have a pretty robust customer profile within Nosto. Segmentation is also the foundation for implementing those aspects of personalization into category page experiences. So, like by creating segments that are based on different customer behaviors, you can get a lot more granular with each shopper. The more segments that a customer belongs to, the closer that you are to having a full profile for that shopper. So, for example, a few of the segments that we've highlighted on the slide are they can have multiple brand affinities, they can be at a specific stage in the life cycle, and we'll also be tracking their current on-site behavior to see what they want right now in the moment. You also have the option to add an additional layer of Nosto's signature personalization to all or some of your sorting rules, which will allow you to create category page sequences that are specifically unique to each shopper, just like product recommendations. So it's kind of up to you how personalized or not you want to go, which I think is pretty cool. This combination of personalization and merchandising rules will allow you to create a really valuable sequence that are way more engaging and built to accomplish the goals that you want. Like for example here, in this example we have Zoe and Zach. So Zoe is a new customer looking for school gear, while Zach is a loyal customer looking for hiking gear, and both of them have landed on the backpack category page. This retailer sells multiple different backpacks for multiple different uses, and they will rely on custom tags to differentiate the product ranges. Zoe's already been adding products that fall under the school tag. So she's added a planner, she's added a calculator, she's added pens. We can infer from this that Chloe is shopping for school supplies and that she will probably have an affinity to other products, no matter which category they're in, that fall under the tag of school. Zach has been browsing and adding products that fall under the hiking tag. He's added boots, bug spray, and a flannel. So, by the same logic, we can infer that Zach is interested in products that fall under the hiking tag. They now belong to two different segments, and they're served different sequences accordingly. So Zoe sees school bags at the top of the page, and Zach sees hiking bags. So you can see how simple it is for the sequences to change just based on a customer's category, brand, or tag affinity. So I'm sure that you're probably now thinking, online merchandising sure sounds a lot like personalization. And yes, they do sound quite similar, but the key difference is their intention. So, to break it down, merchandising is the practice of showcasing what the store wants to sell, whereas personalization is the practice of showcasing what the shopper wants to buy. We can liken this to the in-store experience by comparing merchandising to the shop window setup that draws customers into the store and highlights the ranges that the store wants to promote, and personalization as being the practice of having a personal shopper in the store who will help the customer to discover the product ranges that they really want to see. What this means in practice online is that personalization is creating experiences around a shopper and their behavior, and merchandising is creating experiences based on product attributes and performance metrics. And when we use these together in harmony, the two practices can really empower retailers to create the most relevant shopping experiences that not only appeal to customers, but also accomplish their very specific commercial goals. Finally, as we've discovered over the years, personalization is an ever evolving strategy that requires iteration after iteration, and merchandising is no different. So, by combining category merchandising and personalization with our powerful A B testing and optimization capabilities, retailers can learn from each of their campaigns and continuously improve their category merchandising and personalization strategies. Using lifecycle or custom segments and then testing different category page sorting and highlight attributes against each of those can really help retailers to better understand which merchandising strategies work best for different customer groups. So, not just for all your customers as a whole, but for first time visitors, repeat customers, loyal customers, customers who have an affinity for shoes, customers who have an affinity for Nike, etc. For example, a retailer can test sorting rules that promote like high margin products against sorting rules that would promote highest converting products to prove the hypothesis that we discussed before, that high converters perform better with first time visitors, whereas the high margin products perform better with repeat buyers. Or you could test something I'd imagine would be interesting for all retailers, which is whether category page experiences with an added layer of personalization drives more revenue than those that rely strictly on merchandising rules. I can't wait to see who the first person to run that test is. Now let's take it back to just Zach, who we looked at in the previous example, and the segment that he belongs to. So what if we wanted to test and learn what sorting rules work best for the segment that Zach belongs to? So for variation A, we can call Zach's segment the hiking gear affinity segment, and perhaps we could combine that with loyal customer as well. So for variation A, we would test promoting high margin products within that category, and for variation B, we would test promoting products with the highest conversion rates. And learning which one drives the end result you want will help you to know which experience to create for shoppers like Zach in the future. Luckily, with continuous optimization, you'll be able to optimize the test for a multitude of different actual e-commerce or merchandising goals, and the we will drive the traffic automatically towards the best performing variation to avoid you from losing out on revenue on one of your most important parts of your website's real estate category pages. So that's it, the 5 steps towards success. I'm just going to leave you with these kind of 3 key points that I think kind of sum up the journey towards delivering great category page experiences. So, the first and most important aspect is automating your merchandising to save time and money. And this is what you can really achieve with category merchandising. So, automatically ranking products based on commercial performance. I'm imagining that commercial performance is something that we probably all want to focus on more right now. So, that's probably going to be what's relevant to most of you. And then also in conjunction with that, highlighting products or product ranges to automate campaign management. So you can keep your marketing team happy too. Um, Configuring category pages to perform better. So flexibly manage what order the products are shown and add that layer of personalization to create more relevant experiences. And then the last point is optimizing for different merchandising goals. So you can validate your hypotheses without complicated configurations. If you're already a Nosto customer and you've already used the A/B testing solution before, you know how easy it is to use. And it's going to be just as easy using it in conjunction with category merchandising. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We just want to find out, if I'm a loyal customer, what converts me better, and just, shoot with that. You can also add weight to multiple attributes at once to accomplish more than one merchandising goal. I think that's a really, really key point as well, is that you can stop focusing on just one thing. I mean, conversion is probably the most popular e-commerce metric to focus on, but there are so many other things that we want to take into account, like AOV, revenue per impression, overall revenue. And with the weighting tools, we can really like bring those all together, kind of mesh them together and achieve much, much greater results for each metric. So now it's time for the Q&A. So I have had a few questions during the course of the session, so I'm just gonna pull those up now and answer 3 or 4 of them. So one question is, are we going to be able to drag and drop products in the preview function? That is a really good question, because as I said, visual merchandisers really like to have control, so I can understand why you would want to have that kind of like visual styling element. This is actually a feature that's going to be coming in the next few weeks. So not with the first launch, but we are going to have it very, very soon. Second question is, what happens if somebody changes the segment they're in during the same visit? Is it going to change every time? Okay, that's a really good question, because we actually have had this question before. There's a concern that it might be disconcerting to customers if the order of the page was changing multiple times within one session. So we have a little toggle within the UI that's called the sequence lock that will lock the first sequence that the customer experiences to that session for them. So their experience will not change during that session. Um, Can you share an example of a more complex sorting setup? Okay, cool. Somebody wants to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So a really cool example that we actually discussed here in the team was for a clothing retailer who sells a lot of different types of shirts, that shirts with different fabrics could be targeted towards segments based on their geolocation. So, for example, somebody who's living in Canada would be perhaps in the like colder months would be targeted with like some very thick flannel or woolen shirts, whereas somebody living in Florida could they might be promoted like thinner t-shirts at the top of the page. So kind of a very interesting example there, like taking the weather into account when you're sorting your category pages. If that's something that you've never thought of, then maybe give it a whirl. And if a customer is in multiple segments, which segment sorting and highlighting setup is the one they experience? That's a really good question, and that's actually up to you on a kind of broader scale than just category merchandising. So if you're already a Nosto customer and you go to the segment overview, you'll have the option to prioritize segments to drag and drop. So you can basically decide which segment you want to take highest priority, and that will apply to all Nosto products that you use segmentation in, so recommendations and content as well as category page merchandising. That's actually all that we have time for today. If I didn't get to your question, somebody will actually reach out to you after this for a little bit more of a discussion on it. I hope you enjoyed today's session. And yeah, get in touch with support or your CSM if you are now dying to try category merchandising, which I hope you are. Bye bye.